creepy, red-hooded civilian. So this happened in early July, and it still creeps me out a bit today. I'm a soldier, and I live in the barracks on base, since I'm not married and can't really afford my own place. For security reasons, I will not name the base or its location. It is typically pretty quiet around here aside from the common parties that happen on the weekends, so this event was pretty surprising to me. Additionally, I work the night shift, 4 days a week from 2 to midnight, so it is even quieter on most days when I return to my room. This night, however, was on the 4th of July weekend. Military gets a 4-day weekend on federal holidays, so the common area was a bit louder on Thursday night, my last day of work for the week. To give you a better idea about the layout, the barracks are separated into 4 3-story buildings that share a large, concrete common area. Since we obviously can't smoke in our rooms, the common areas have 2 smoking areas. We call them smoke pits, and they're on either side. The pits each consist of a picnic table, a grill, and a large trash bin covered by an awning to block out the rain. The pits are the site of most of the parties that occur on the weekends, mainly the one furthest from my building. I'd gotten out of work early, so it was about 10 when I got to the barracks and made my way to my room. As per usual on nights that don't have work days following them, there was a party at the pit furthest from my building where most of the people were outside. However, there was one person at my building's pit. Now originally I assumed he was just out there to smoke and wasn't up for partying or whatever. But what was strange, however, was that he had no lit cigarette, no vape, and wasn't on his phone. He just sat there, dressed in blue jeans and a red hoodie with his hood up. It was the middle of July in the south, so this was a bit strange. But the rooms are pretty much perpetually cold during the summer. We don't control the AC in the barracks. NCOs just blast the shit on high at like 65 degrees for the entire summer for whatever reason. So, I figured he might have just stepped out to warm up. He sat on the table with his arms in his front pocket and his head hanging. Wanting to smoke, I stood at the opposite side of the table and lit a cigarette. The guy didn't speak or even move for the entire time that I was there. He just sat there, blankly staring into his lap. I didn't think much of it and just made my way to my room. I changed and just patrolled YouTube for a while. It's important to note a few things here. Each room houses 2 soldiers, and the doors automatically lock when they're closed. The only people with the key are the unit headquarters and the room's residents themselves. In the event that a resident loses their key, they have to call to get someone to unlock it every time they need to get into the room, until the key is replaced. Additionally, my room is located at the 2nd floor of the building. It is a bit tucked away around back, so unlike the rest of the building, there is next to no traffic outside my room. Lastly, my side of the room has the only window, and is where the door is, so I can hear when someone's rarely passing my room. Finally, my roommate worked at an odd shift, 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. And I had no idea. I wasn't too sure what days he worked. Also, the room is very dark, and I cannot see if my roommate is asleep in the room when I first enter. So I close the door always quietly by keeping the knob turned as it closes. And this is important. When I finally got in, I realized he actually wasn't home yet. Before I dozed off, however, I could hear shuffling outside. I peeked out the window and I could see some obviously inebriated girl tripping over herself to get to her room. Now, I knew the girl lived in the room next to mine, so I didn't see a need to help her since she was literally right there, but I listened for a while until I heard her enter her room. About 10 minutes later, I heard someone walking towards my door and stop. I figured it was my roommate getting home, but couldn't hear the obvious sound of someone unlocking the door. And for a long moment, It was silent. Then I heard the sound of my door slowly opening. Instantly, I sat up and looked at the foot of my bed where the door was. There was no sound of the doorknob turning and no click of the lock. The door was just slowly being pushed open, as if someone was trying to enter very quietly, which wasn't like my roommate. After the door was fully opened, someone, not in uniform, walked in. At first, I didn't recognize who it was until I noticed the red hoodie. I gasped. I screamed, "Get the fuck out!" The man jumped, darted out of the room. I jumped out of bed and I ran to the door, but by the time I made it, the guy had jumped over the rail, onto the bushes below, and was running across the common area. Immediately, I called the MPs and they arrived within minutes. A few of them did a search of the area while the rest made trips around the rooms to check on everyone. The girl's room next to mine was also not closed. They eventually found the guy in a storage room of another one of the barrack buildings. And a few weeks passed until I found out the whole story. Apparently, the guy wasn't even a soldier, but was an ex of the girl who lived next to me. And prior to that night, the ex did not know what room she lived in and had attempted to follow her to her room after she'd finished partying. He knew she didn't have a roommate at the time, so he figured he'd be able to prey on her without anyone noticing. I don't know how the guy got onto base. There's always somebody that does ID checks at the gate, and the guy didn't even have identification on him. Fortunately for the girl, in my attempt to be quiet that night, I'd accidentally not closed my door completely, and the guy mistook my room for hers. What's worse is that the girl had not closed her door all the way either. So, had the guy not mixed up rooms, he'd have broken into hers while she was extremely drunk and likely unconscious. While I'm fortunate that the girl was safe, I fear what might have happened had I been asleep when that creep was in my room. Typically, the barracks are supposed to be safe places for troops to sleep, and things of this nature don't typically happen. But this goes to show you that you need to be careful no matter where you are. So, creepy civilian in the red hoodie, let's not meet again.